Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 7th of March. So let's have a look through the markets. Before we do so though, as ever, let's look at the possible risk impact on the markets today. Well, we've already seen the Australian Reserve Bank of Australia, the Reserve Bank of Australia rate statement coming out, which basically aligned to expectation. It's expected the increase there 0.25%, 2.5%. That reminds me of the days when the UK was going potty. But anyway, so 0.25% increase there. What they've suggested is that inflation is peaking, but there's a sort of like the pros and cons. The job situation is very tight still. Inflation's peaking, but there's probably more to do. But the markets didn't really like what they heard and rolled over. For the rest of today, we got Fed Chair speaking there at 3 p.m. Now, some traders may be waiting for this. It probably will move the markets, whatever he says, one way or the other, as people just remember what he said before. But largely what he's got to say has already, I'm sure, been said by now. But all the same, in the current situation, people are holding on for any bit of news. That's pretty much it, because 6 p.m. we've got the Swiss National Bank chairman coming through. Now, always be a bit wary of that. That's at 6 p.m. though, so after most people's trading, but just be wary if you're trading a Swissy. And of course the euro can get affected by that as well. And we got the Reserve Bank of Australia governor speaking again at 10 o'clock roughly. Right, so again, he's probably addressing the markets. Right, let's go and have a look at the markets and see what they're doing then. Australian dollar, on a weekly chart there, I can tell. I do get a little mixed with them at times. Keep flicking between them. Okay, so daily chart, looking at the monthly pivots on here, and you can see we're just short of the underside of the monthly pivot. This is a great area up here in terms of decision, because if this move here was nothing but a bull flag in terms of a more significant retracement from the price action we'd seen, we should be able to break through that level and continue on there. If it, I mean, we're not far short of running into the numbers. I just can't see. Well, just put the cursor next to it. That would probably help. So we're sitting there, yeah, like 20-30 pips away from that sort of area. Now, if it gives us resistance, we can be looking at the minor bear flag that sits there. So there's always a bear flag before, as well as a bull flag. There's the bull flag. This is the bear flag. That's sort of appearing, but whether or not that takes any grip on the market, we'll see. But that's to be taken into account this morning. Now, it's had a good afternoon yesterday. After a bit of a dilly-dallying, it came short of the daily pivot, however you look at it, and it's now sort of sitting here in chop world. Personally, I think with the risk to the upside of resistance, it's probably one that's going to sit on the back boiler for now. The pound then, let's come into the pound. The pound seems to have done something, but it too has got its monthly pivot not far ahead. It's a much uglier sight here. As I said yesterday, it's in a range bound market. Actually, if we come back up to that monthly pivot, let's just check where it is relatively. Well, yeah, if we come back up to that will be pretty much the highs of those prior waves there. So somewhere just slightly short of that. So it doesn't give a lot of upside target at the moment, without some big risks sitting just above there. Pivots are quite pinched this morning. I was looking at this and thinking, well, maybe we'll get up to the R3 today, because the pivots are quite so pinched. Yesterday's trading range very, very tight, squeezes the calculation of the pivots for the next day, and that's what we're seeing here. So they become a little bit less workable. But having said that, the outer pivot seems to come into play a little bit more. So yeah, If it does get a continuation out of this, this may just be a fake out. It's quite early, but pattern wise it looks okay. It looks like an ABC wave. It might be all over and done with. Again, we'll just need to wait post 8 o'clock on this, see what it does. Dollar yen, let's take the big picture view here. It's, well, we've had a couple of days of strengthening against the US dollar, so the dollar just softening against it. It looks like it could be rolling over here a little bit more, quite a bit clearer on the 4-hourly, and it's already this bear sort of flag that's been appearing. It's broken the lows of that and does look like it could be turning the corner. We'll see how things develop there. Aussie dollar, well, we had the news out. It didn't like the news. The markets didn't like the news initially. It sold off. I think this could still be, with the slowdown of expected growth in China, the figures not being particularly brilliant. That obviously has a knock-on effect to Australian exports of raw materials, so it could have a continued knock-on effect on the Aussie dollar for now. As for today's trading, it though, unfortunately, it's done quite a large range. It might sell off as we go through the morning, but really need to look at it. It's right down into just looking at where it was. It's bottomed out here as well, so struggle with that one in terms of it. Yes, it may break those previous bottoms. It's looking more to the bearish side. I really want to see a break and a retest. US dollar CAD, it continues in its chop mode. It's day by day by day. It seems to be in a mess. I'm not even going any further on that. So they're the majors there. The other usual suspects that I quite like, and normally you can find something on, things like the euro yen, the pound yen, but these are really, I'm just looking at them on the intermediate time frame. Pound yen, look, it's as ugly as a junkyard dog, as they say, going sideways. Horrible. So little to be done there. So it's a bit of a waiting morning. I'd love to say, well, there's this or that that's ready to go. There's a few things, or a couple of things there that have possibilities, but it's a patience game. The euro, I'm really not sure on. The pound, it's whether or not it continues its little run up there, but we just got to be wary of the monthly pivot above. Again, if it breaks that monthly pivot, could be looking for further upside. So a little bit of a groundhog day here in terms of these markets at the moment. Don't know if Fed's power will actually get things moving and shaking. Gold, what's happening with gold? Again, gold, look, it's just short of its monthly pivot. It's a surprise. These markets are so correlated. This has got some potential the way it's looking. It's in a nice little wave formation on the 4-hourlies there, and well, okay, sort of bullish flag coming through. A break in the next hour or so above those highs would look a bit more positive. So it's certainly got some scope for further upside on that. Oil, as we see the US dollar weaken, we normally see the price of oil pushing up, and we're seeing it sort of here. Higher lows, higher highs, very whippy market. I talk about the retracements in the market and the frequency and the amount, and it really is quite a choppy old market at the moment, which to me means that it could just roll back at any stage. So as much as it looks okay-ish for the upside at the moment, it's one hell of a choppy market. A quick look through the indices here from the upper time frames, the dailies. CSI 300 rolling off there again. A bit disappointment with those Chinese numbers. The Nikkei a little bit more bullish though, and continuing running towards its prior highs here. Oh, it's running to the body highs at least, but certainly looking the more positive of the Asian markets. The Nifty 50. well, it's hanging there at the moment. Again, looks like it's not even moved since yesterday. The S&P's turning the corner maybe here. Yesterday was a bit of a shooting star, bit undecided. Again, a break of yesterday's highs would be a bit more bullish in terms of how it's sitting at the moment, but the other markets are looking a little bit easier. The Dow not being one of them. It's really this too is just run into resistance into its daily 50. It's got daily 34 there as well. It's all plateaued out a little bit, and you're sort of seeing it becoming a bit of a range, which means if it can break through the 50 and the 34, it could be on for the upper side of the range. Nasdaq looking prettier yesterday in terms of the pivot swing that sort of started things here. Bull flaggy sort of pattern kicking in there again. If it can continue pushing up beyond yesterday's highs, we've got a bit of resistance going to come down from the trend line that I haven't drawn on there, but I will. There we go. We're going to have some resistance around that point there if it runs into it, so we just need to be a bit careful. But looking slightly better for equities, but I should imagine that'll be quiet before Powell's speech. The DAX continues well. It's held on to yesterday. It held on to the highs there. It's holding on to the highs again today. It's hardly setting the world alight in terms of a big trend, nor is the FTSE. So both really slow. Quick look for our crypto traders then at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin having sold off into last week, the end of last week, given a higher low, it's consolidating. This to me, in terms of normal patterns, it's sort of bear flag really underneath in the lower time frames as you come down here, but it's really ugly. Yeah, flat lining really in that shorter time frame. Ethereum, again another one that's chopping away. Lower highs still confirmed there. Very weak market at the moment, and very much on the cusp of doing something or other, but looking more bearish than anything else. And Litecoin just looking at that lower highs through there. Let's just a quick look at Chainlink. Again, all very much the same. So there we go. That's pretty much it for today. Unfortunately, don't have a lot there to go on. As I said, it's a bit like Groundhog Day, but these days happen and we get into these periods. We just need something to spur the market on a little bit. So I wish you all a good day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Morning, Ian.